All right, so here we are. Talking about point slope form. And point slope form can be one of the most useful forms out of these three, out of general form, out of point slope form, and out of slope intercept. And because we need really very little information to be able to use it, and it gives us a lot of information back. And here's why I say that. So for point slope form, we need to know the slope, m, and any point that the line goes through. Any point at all with slope intercept form, which we'll go over in the next video, are limited to having to know specifically the y-intercept. But for point slope, any point that the line goes through will work. And so let's go through an example for point slope form. So we'll have it's y minus y1, and that's just going to be the y value of whatever point that we're talking about it going through, is equal to the slope multiplied by the x minus x1. Again, this is just the x value of whatever point the line goes through. So if we had a line with a slope of, we'll do one that's kind of a similar line to what we just did last video. If we had one with a slope of negative 2/3, slope is negative 2/3, and it goes through the point of 3, 4, 3 comma 4. And we know this is our x value. This here is our y value. With just that much information, we can start just kind of plugging the pieces in. So y minus the y value of the point. So y minus 4. Y minus 4. And notice it's minus this, so I wrote the minus in black. That's going to stay the same. The point itself is always just the y value here when it's being subtracted, and the x value. That tends to be the place folks will make mistakes with it. Now that's all going to be equal to the slope, which we're saying is negative 2/3 times x minus, and our x value this time is 3. So x minus 3. And we've got our line written in point slope form. If you were coming to an equation that was already given to you in point slope form, you'd be able to pull out the slope. So our slope is negative 2/3. And even though we knew that, I'm just pulling it from the equation here. Our y the value of the point that it goes through is the 4 here. So it goes through the point of something comma 4. And the x value is the 3 here. All right. We're going to go through another example or two. We're going from maybe just from another equation. So we're just going to make one up here. Maybe it's y plus 3 equals 1/2 times x minus 1. And so if you're being asked what is the slope and what is the point that it goes through, our slope is right there. It's 1/2. So 1/2 is the slope. And the point that it goes through, remember this is the generic form is y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. And we just want these values. We're not including the minus, just the value after it. So the x value, if it's minus 1, so then our x value is going to be 1. Be careful here with the y value, because if I were to rewrite this as a minus, it would be y minus negative 3. And that's actually our y value that the point goes, or the line goes through. That's the y value of the point. So negative 3. All right. And now you may be asked times to convert from general form into slope intercept form, and that makes some sense because you're going through a specific point. But being asked to convert something into point slope form is a little bit trickier, and because there's actually, for every line, there's an infinite number of point slope form equations. And let's take a look at this line to kind of illustrate why. So here we've got negative 2x minus 3y equals negative 18. And, sorry, uh, that's written incorrectly in standard form. That should all be multiplied by negative 1 because your a value is supposed to be positive. The computer program didn't want to do that. So, but that's okay. We'll run with it, just ignoring the fact that a should be positive. And so we'll have negative 2x minus 3y equals negative 18. Now, if I were going to find out the slope for this, I would start multiplying, or sorry, I would add 2x to both sides, then divide by negative 3, and find out what our slope is. And I can look at the graph though right now and see that it's negative 2, 3, or it's rising a negative 2, and it's running 3, so our slope's going to be negative 2/3. Now, that means I could write y equals, let's see if we can get this over a little bit. One equation would be y, oh, it's not going to stay up at the same time. But y minus, well, maybe we'll have the point right here, so 3, 4. Or maybe we'll have the point over here of 6, 2, or maybe 9, 0, or 0, 6, or any of the little individual points in here, because between any 2 points, if you recall, this is an infinite number of points, and between any 2 of those points, there's still another infinite number of points. The line is made up of an infinite number of points. And so to change it to point slope form is going to be very difficult because there's an infinite number of equations, correct equations, to choose from. We would need to be given information about a specific point to have it go through. So let's rewrite this in point slope form, but going through the point 6, 2. So the screen's going to disappear, but remember we're doing through the point 6, 2. And so the equation there, the line we just had on that other screen was a slope of negative 2/3, slope of negative 2/3, and we saw that it went through the point of 6, 2. And now let's convert that to point slope form. So we've got y minus y1, and so here's my y value, so y minus 2 equals negative 2/3 times x minus the x value minus 6. That one would have worked. We could have also plugged in, we had the point 0, 6, so we could subtract y minus 6 equals negative 2/3 times x plus 0 or minus 0. It's kind of irrelevant there if it's plus or minus 0. It went through the point 9, 0, so that could also be y minus 0 times negative 2/3, or equals negative 2/3 times x minus 9. And again, there's an infinite number of point slope equations we could write. And so generally, when we're changing from standard form to something else, you won't be asked to change the point slope form unless you're given that specific point. Normally, you'd be asked to change to slope intercept form. All right, but there we go. That's point slope form, and hope that helps.